I know what you're feeling right now standing in front of the screen, scrolling through endless specs, wondering if you're about to throw a serious chunk of cash at a machine that will sit idle in the corner because it doesn't fit your real-world needs. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's cut through the hype and figure out whether the HP Omen Max 45-liter tower is actually the right fit for you, or if you'd be better off looking elsewhere. First off, the Omen Max isn't a budget-friendly option. It's positioned as a turnkey, high-end gaming and creator workstation, and the price tag reflects that. If you've ever built a PC and spent hours hunting for compatible parts, you know the headache that comes with trying to balance CPU power, GPU firepower, cooling, and future-proof connectivity. This machine promises to solve all of that in one box, but the question is whether the convenience outweighs the cost and any hidden compromises. Let's start with the kind of experience you'll actually get on a typical day. You sit down after work, fire up a fresh install of Windows 11, and launch the latest AAA title, say, Cyberpunk 2077 with ray tracing maxed out. The RTX 5090 slides into those heavy graphical workloads without breaking a sweat, delivering frame rates that stay well above the 60 frames per second sweet spot on a 1440p monitor. And you'll notice the difference especially in those crowded cityscapes where previous cards would have chugged. Now, pair that with the Ryzen 99900X3D. The 3D V-cache on that chip is built for gaming latency, so you'll see noticeably smoother input response, especially in fast-paced shooters or competitive titles where every millisecond counts. If you're also a streamer, the extra 64GB of DDR5 and the 1TB NVMe SSD start to make sense. Multitasking between a game, OBS, and a web browser full of chat windows doesn't cause the system to stutter. Load times for large maps or texture packs are practically instantaneous, which means less waiting and more playing. The Wi-Fi 7 module is another point that feels less like a buzzword and more like a practical upgrade if you're in a house with multiple devices fighting for bandwidth. That newer standard gives you a more stable, lower latency connection without having to run an Ethernet cable to the desk. Now, the cooling system. HP calls it a patented cryo chamber with a separated CPU cooler. In plain English, that means the CPU gets its own dedicated airflow loop, isolated from the GPU's heat. In real-world testing, users have reported lower CPU temps during extended gaming sessions, which translates to sustained boost clocks and a quieter fan curve. If you plan to push the machine with long-form rendering or run benchmarks for hours, that separation can keep the acoustic environment tolerable, something you often miss in cramped, all-in-one towers. All of that sounds great, but there are trade-offs that matter once you have the box in your living room. The 45-liter chassis is undeniably hefty. It sits like a mini fridge, so you need a decent amount of floor space and a sturdy desk or stand. If you live in a small apartment or share a bedroom, that footprint could become a daily annoyance. The design is sleek, with a shadow black tempered glass side panel, but it also means you can't just pop the side open to swap parts quickly. HP uses some proprietary mounting points, which can limit how easily you upgrade the GPU or add extra storage down the line. In other words, you get top-tier performance now, but you may be paying a premium for a system that isn't as future-proof in the upgrade department as a custom-built rig. Power consumption is another practical consideration. With a Ryzen 9 and an RTX 5090, you're looking at a draw that can easily peak above 500 watts under full load. That means you'll need a reliable 850 watt, or higher, PSU, which the Omen Max does include, but it also translates to higher electricity bills if you're gaming for several hours a day. For most users, the impact on the monthly bill isn't a deal-breaker, but it's something to be aware of if you're watching every cent. So, who should press the Add to Cart button? If you are a serious gamer who wants the best visual fidelity now without the hassle of sourcing and assembling parts. A content creator who streams, edits video, or runs demanding 3D applications and needs a machine that can handle multiple heavy workloads simultaneously. Someone who values a clean, ready-to-go setup out of the box, with premium aesthetics and advanced connectivity that won't need immediate upgrades. you'll likely feel that the Omen Max delivers the value you're after. The combination of the 9900X 3D's gaming-focused architecture and the RTX 5090's raw rasterization and ray tracing power gives you a system that feels future-ready for the next couple of years of titles, and